Welcome to Dark Psychology World Channel. I hope you like it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Now I will start reading this book to you. The World as Perceived by. The imagination is the true reality. Our daily lives are shaped by figments of the imagination rather than by facts. Those who have a tendency to be overly precise and literal often reside in a world that is not based in reality. Imagination alone has the power to bring back the paradise we have lost through our experiences. Imagination allows us to perceive what is beyond and empowers us to turn our visions into reality. The exercise of imagination is what drives every stage of human progress. Many times men's results are uncertain simply because they do not have a clear and strong belief in their own imagination. Having a strong imagination is the starting point for any successful endeavor. Understanding and applying the power of imagination is key to achieving your goals. The individual who possesses the ability to summon any desired image is due to the strength of their imagination the least susceptible to wasteful behavior. Once you've absorbed the information that resonates with you and felt excitement, continue with your daily routine. The conversation you have in mind should reinforce what it confirmed. Understanding the end will determine the means. The most effective means are those that are chosen to achieve the desired outcome. It's important to focus and be mindful of our imagination and tension. Right now, control in this context is not about exerting willpower but rather about nurturing through love and compassion. In a world filled with conflict and turmoil, it is crucial to recognize the immense strength of compassionate love. Our thoughts shape who we become. Embrace the power of love in your imagination. By envisioning an ideal and aligning yourself with it, you can gradually become one with this ideal image and its qualities into your essence. Always remember the incredible power that resides within you. Love has the power to make the unseen visible and provide us with much needed nourishment. In difficult times, it creates a home for the soul where it can truly belong. The garden is filled with beauty, love, and all things good. However, it is through imaginative love that one can find their way into this enchanting place. Through the power of imagination, we shape our own destinies regardless of whether they turn out to be positive, negative, or neutral. Imagination holds immense power in bringing ideas to life, and every step of human advancement or decline is driven by the use of imagination. We can transform ourselves into what we aspire to be through our imagination and desires. Let's remind ourselves that our imagination shapes our reality. If we continue to believe in our desired identity, we will eventually manifest that image of ourselves we came into existence through the incredible power of love. And for a short period of time, someone else took care of all our needs. The secret of life lies in that straightforward truth: we can only truly live through love. Our parents, as unique individuals, lack the ability to pass on life. So once again we arrive at the fundamental truth that life is born from love. Thus, without love there is no existence. Therefore, it can be concluded that God is love. Love is something that we are all entitled to. Love is an essential aspect of our existence. Don't waste time searching for something you already possess. People who search for love often reveal their own lack of love, and those who lack love never find it. Love is discovered by those who embrace it without the need for active pursuit. Lesson 1: imagination can bring you anywhere. Let's say I want to be somewhere else or in a different situation. Is it possible to manifest these things in reality by visualizing myself in that state and location? Imagine if I couldn't afford the journey, and if my current social and financial situation goes against the idea I want to pursue. Can imagination alone bring these desires to life? Can reason be understood by imagination? I Define reason as conclusions drawn from sensory observations. Does it have the ability to acknowledge the external world of facts? Can imagination serve as a comprehensive guide to behavior in our daily lives? If I can consistently imagine and hold on to the feeling of my wish being fulfilled, will my assumption become reality? And if it solidifies into reality, will I realize upon reflection that my actions during the development phase have been rational? Can my imagination not only help me feel the fulfillment of my wishes but also bring those ideas to life? Do I need to consistently follow logical thoughts and take appropriate actions to achieve the realization of my desired state? Once I have assumed that I'm already there, through my experience I have come to realize that persisting in a false assumption can eventually be perceived as a fact. I have learned that having a continuous imagination is crucial in achieving success, as my reasonable plans and actions alone cannot compensate for its absence. Our imagination shapes who we become. His history is one that he has determined for himself. Imagination is the way, the truth, the life revealed. Understanding truth is not something that can be easily achieved through logical thinking. Imagination sees a fully bloomed rose where others see a simple, but facts alone cannot fully capture the essence of truth. As we explore the world of imagination, we realize that our thoughts have the power to shape our reality, and that a valid opinion doesn't always have to align with the external world. It refers to the creative individual, acknowledges the existence of the tangible external world of change, but recognizes that it is the internal realm of perpetual imagination that drives the manifestation of the external world. He perceives the external world and its events as reflections of the internal realm of imagination. Everything is a reflection of the thoughts that occur within a person's imagination, even if they are not consciously aware of it. However, he understands that it is important for every individual to be aware of their inner thoughts and recognize the connection between their imagination and the tangible world around them. Discovering the power of imagination allows you to envision your desired state and break free from the limitations of ignorance. The real man is an incredible imagination. Understanding depends on how readily we accept and identify with the state of things. The world is shaped by the fusion of imagination and states. The world is a manifestation of the various states that are intertwined with imagination. Our thoughts shape the world we live in. People's perspectives shape who they are, whether they are wealthy, impoverished, virtuous, or dishonest. The differentiation between these states determines the differentiation between the realms of these individuals. This world is so different for each individual. The focus should be on aligning with the perspective of a good person rather than their actions and behavior. It is important to focus on changing the inner state rather than relying solely on external reforms. Achieving success requires focusing on the right actions and maintaining a positive mindset. When we separate from a state, which can happen at any time, the conditions and circumstances that were created by that connection disappear. Having a determined imagination and thinking from the end is the starting point for all miracles. I want to instill a strong belief in miracles, but miracles are simply the creations of imagination, often misunderstood by those who lack knowledge of its power and purpose. Visualizing the desired outcome helps us transition into a new state. This imparts a sense of being to the state. One must envision the future as if it were the present in order to consciously and skillfully shape one's circumstances. We need to transform our vision into reality, shifting our perspective from thinking of to thinking from, to truly understand the world. One must focus their imagination on a specific state and view it from that perspective. Viewing the world through the lens of fulfilled desires is a profound way of thinking. It's all about living creatively by focusing on the desired state. Lack of awareness regarding the ability to think from the end can be limiting. This is the source of all the restrictions that be humanity. Underestimating the capacities of the inner self by simply surrendering to the evidence of the senses is not advisable. When a person embraces the idea of thinking from the end as a creative principle and actively participates in it, they free themselves from the futility of trying to achieve their goals through mere thoughts alone. Construct all ends in a way that aligns at the pattern of fulfilled desire. Life revolves around the satisfaction of hunger, and the various states of consciousness that we experience serve as a means to fulfill that hunger. The foundation of each state's organization revolves around a desire to elevate the pursuit of self-fulfillment to increasingly greater levels of experience. Understanding the workings of the mind is essential. It is straightforward and clear. This desire is completely normal and can be fulfilled through a state of awareness. We need to shift our mindset from focusing on the end result to approaching things from the perspective of the desired outcome. Understanding this can be quite challenging. Imagination has the freedom to go beyond the limitations of the senses, unlike its counterpart, which is bound by them. Imagination is fueled by the desire for gratification. Imagination allows us to break free from the constraints of our senses and the limitations of reason. Nothing can hinder the individual who possesses forward-thinking abilities. He is unstoppable. He builds the tools and expands his path beyond boundaries, reaching higher and higher levels of spiritual growth. What he has been or what he is doesn't matter. The most important thing is to understand what he desires. He understands that the world is a reflection of his own thoughts and actively works to shape and direct his intentions. He envisions himself in the future, certain that he will be there physically as well. He completely relies on the power of believing his wishes have already come true and lives by fully embracing that state, because the key to success is to entice him to do so. Just like the man at the pool of Bethesda, he is prepared for the stirring of the waters of imagination. Understanding that every desire can manifest when one knows how to think from the end, one becomes unconcerned with mere reasonable probability and instead has confidence that through continuous imagination, their assumptions will become reality. However, the challenge lies in convincing people worldwide that adopting a forward-thinking mindset is essential for a fulfilling life. It is crucial to integrate this approach into all aspects of human activity and present it as a source of abundance rather than a mere consolation for the disillusion. Understanding life is within our grasp. Once you understand your true identity as a son and recognize that your thoughts and perspective shape your reality, you can freely explore and embrace any experience you desire. Lesson 2. Inner worlds reflect the outer world. The inner world of thought and feeling, to which the inner body is attuned, has a distinct structure and exists in a higher space of its own. There are two types of movement, one that is based on the body's internal cues and another that is based on external factors. The movement of the inner body is driven by causality, while the outer movement is compelled. The movement within influences the external, creating a parallel motion. In the outer body, the force that brings all events to pass is inner movement. The movement of the outer body is influenced by the movement of the inner body. If the inner body's actions align with the outer actions needed to fulfill desire, that desire will come true. Imagine a scenario where your wish comes true and Visualize yourself actively participating in it. Restrict the movement of your physical body. Just imagine yourself getting ready for a nap, and then go ahead and do it. The start of an action is often best illustrated by a clear and vivid representation as you drift off to sleep. Visualize yourself in the scene. The duration of sleep doesn't matter. A quick nap is enough, but when we continue our actions in our sleep, our imagination becomes reality. Initially, your thoughts may wander aimlessly, lacking guidance. There's no need to worry if your focus wanders. Direct it repeatedly until it becomes too tired to deviate and stays on track. It's important to have a clear direction in your inner journey. When you choose the inner road, it's about replicating the mental process you went through before you began. Choose the prize you've already seen and agreed to. Clear and straightforward inner talking. Make your inner conversation match your fulfilled desire. What you desire to hear without, you must hear within. Embrace the without within and become one who hears only that which implies the fulfillment of his desire, and all the external happenings in the world will become a bridge leading to the objective realization of your desire. Your inner speech is perpetually written all around you in happenings. Learn to relate these happenings to your inner speech, and you will become self-taught by inner speech. Is meant those mental conversations which you carry on with yourself. They may be inaudible when you are awake because of the noise and distractions of the outer world of becoming, but they are quite audible in deep meditation and dream. But whether they be audible or inaudible, you are their author and fashion your world in their likeness. Inner speech from premises of fulfilled desire is the way to create an intelligible world for yourself. Observe your inner speech, for it is the cause of future action. Inner speech reveals the state of consciousness from which you view the world. Make your inner speech match your fulfilled desire, for your inner speech is manifested all around you in happenings. We imagine the wish fulfilled and carry on mental conversations from that premise through controlled inner talking. From premises of fulfilled desire, seeming miracles are performed. The future becomes the present and reveals itself in our inner speech. To be held by the inner speech of fulfilled desire is to be safely anchored in life. Our lives may seem to be broken by events, but they are never broken so long as we retain the inner speech of fulfilled desire. All happiness depends on the active voluntary use of imagination to construct and inwardly affirm that we are what we want to be. We match ourselves to our ideals by constantly remembering our aim and identifying ourselves with it. We fuse with our aims by frequently occupying the feeling of our wish fulfilled. It is the frequency, the habitual occupancy, that is the secret of success. The oftener we do it, the more natural it is. Fancy assembles continuous imagination fuss. It is possible to resolve every situation by the proper use of imagination. Our task is to get the right sentence, the one which implies that our desire is realized, and fire the imagination with it. All this is intimately connected with the mystery of the still small voice. Inner talking reveals the activities of imagination, activities which are the causes of the circumstances of life. As a rule, man is totally unaware of his inner talking and therefore sees himself not as the cause, but the victim of circumstance. To consciously create circumstance, man must consciously direct his inner speech, matching the still small voice to his fulfilled desires. To spend is to waste, to squander, to lay out without return. To invest is to lay out for a purpose from which a profit is expected. This revelation of my wife is about the importance of the moment. It is about the transformation of the moment. What we desire does not lie in the future, but in ourselves at this very moment. At any moment in our lives we are Faced with an infinite choice what we are and what we want to be, every moment must be invested, and our inner talking reveals whether we are spending or investing. Be more interested in what you are inwardly saying now than what you have said, by choosing wisely what you think and what you feel now. Anytime we feel misunderstood, misused, neglected, suspicious, afraid, we are spending our thoughts and wasting our time. Whenever we assume the feeling of being what we want to be, we are investing. We cannot abandon the moment to negative inner talking and expect to retain command of life. Before us go the results of all that seemingly is behind, not gone is the last moment, but oncoming. You choose life and good and blessings by being that which you choose. Like is known to like alone. Make your inner speech bless and give good reports. Man's ignorance of the future is the result of his ignorance of his inner talking. His inner talking mirrors his imagination, and his imagination is a government in which the opposition never comes into power. If the reader asks what if the inner speech remains subjective and is unable to find an object for its love, the answer is it will not remain subjective, for the very simple reason that inner speech is always objectifying itself. What frustrates, infestors, and becomes the disease that afflicts humanity is man's ignorance of the art of matching inner words to fulfill desire. When man discovers that his world is his own mental activity made visible, that no man can come unto him except he draws him, and that there is no one to change but himself, his own imaginative self, his first impulse is to reshape the world in the image of his ideal. But his ideal is not so easily incarnated, and that moment when he ceases to conform to external discipline, he must impose upon himself a far more rigor discipline, the self-discipline upon which the realization of his ideal depends. Imagination is not entirely untrammeled and free to move at will, without any rules to constrain it. In fact, the contrary is true. Imagination travels according to habit. Imagination has choice, but it chooses according to habit. Awake or asleep, man's imagination is constrained to follow certain definite patterns. It is this benumbing influence of habit that man must change. If he does not, his dreams will fade under the paralysis of custom. But after the choice is made and accepted so that it forms the individual's habitual consciousness, then imagination manifests its infinite power and wisdom by molding the outer sensuous world of becoming in the image of the habitual inner speech and actions of the individual. To realize his ideal, man must first change the pattern which his imagination has followed. Habitual thought is indicative of character. The way to change the outer world is to make the inner speech and action match the outer speech and action of fulfilled desire. Our ideals are waiting to be incarnated, but unless we ourselves match our inner speech and action to the speech and action of fulfilled desire, they are incapable of birth. Inner speech and action are the channels of God's action. He cannot respond to our prayer unless these PTHS are offered. The outer behavior of man is mechanical. It is subject to the compulsion applied to it by the behavior of the inner self and old habits of the inner self, and on until replaced by new ones. It is a peculiar property of the second or inner man that he gives to the outer self something similar to his own reality of being. Any change in the behavior of the inner self will result in corresponding outer change. At the moment man matches the beliefs of any state, he fuses with it, and this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, dramas, and situations. It becomes the individual's home from which he views the world. It is his workshop, and if he is observant, he will see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of his imagination. It is for this purpose of training us in image making that we were made subject to the limitations of the senses and clothed in bodies of flesh. It is the awakening of the imagination, the returning of his Son that our Father waits for. Don't think of your ideal. Think from it. It is only the ideals from which you think that are ever realized. Become a drinker and an eater of the ideals you wish to realize. Have a set definite aim, or your mind will wander, and wandering it eats every negative suggestion. If you live right mentally, everything else will be right. By a change of mental diet you can alter the course of observed events, but unless there is a change of mental diet, your personal history remains the same. You illuminate or darken your life by the ideas to which you consent. Nothing is more important to you than the ideas on which you feed, and you feed on the ideas from which you think. If you find the world unchanged, it is a sure sign that you are wanting infidelity to the new mental diet which you neglect in order to condemn your environment. You are in need of a new and sustained attitude. You can be anything you please if you will make the conception habitual for any idea which excludes all others from the field of attention, discharges, and action the ideas and moods to which you constantly return to find the state with which you are fused. Therefore, train yourself to occupy more frequently the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is creative magic. It is the way to work toward fusion with the desired state. If you would assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled more frequently, you would be master of your fate, but unfortunately you shut out your assumption for all but the occasional hour. Practice making real to yourself the feeling of the wish fulfilled after you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not close the experience as you would a book, but carry it around like a fragrant odor. Instead of being completely forgotten, let it remain in the atmosphere, communicating its influence automatically to your actions and reactions. A mood often repeated gains a momentum that is hard to break or check. So be careful of the feelings you entertain. Habitual moods reveal the state with which you are fused. It is always possible to pass from thinking of the end you desire to realize to thinking from the end. Lesson 3. The secret of prayer. Have you ever experienced the fulfillment of a prayer? Men long for the assurance that their prayers will yield tangible results. That's why I'd like to take a moment to explore why certain prayers are answered, while others seem to go unanswered. If you have faith when you pray, you will receive what you ask for. Man is required to believe that he will receive. If we don't have faith in receiving, our prayers won't be answered. A prayer being granted means that something is done as a result of the prayer that wouldn't have happened otherwise. Thus, the individual who engages in prayer serves as the source of action, the guiding intellect, while the entity who fulfills the prayer assumes the role of the grantor. Such responsibility man refuses to assume, for responsibility, it seems, is mankind's invisible nightmare. The entire natural world operates according to laws. However, there seems to be no clear connection between prayer and its answer. We often wonder whether God will respond to our prayers or choose to overlook them, and whether our prayers will be effective or fall short. It can be challenging for the mind to accept that God willingly follows his own laws. Many people wonder if there is a direct connection between prayer and its outcome. Prayer involves lifting our thoughts towards our desired goal. The initial correction word is always ACE. Keep your focus on what we desire. You can achieve this by adopting the mindset of already having your wish fulfilled. Imagine the joy of having your prayers answered. Imagine the feeling as if your prayer has already been answered, as if you are experiencing it in reality. Prayer involves engaging our minds and taking action. It involves focusing solely on the desired outcome until it becomes the dominant thought, pushing all other thoughts aside. Prayer is not about exerting mental effort or using willpower. It is simply about getting into action mentally and focusing on the idea of the wish fulfilled until it becomes the dominant thought in our mind. In contrast, prayer is different from an act of will. Prayer involves surrendering oneself. It means fully embracing the sensation of achieving one's desires. If prayer does not receive a response, it usually means that there is an issue with the prayer itself, often stemming from excessive effort. There's often confusion when people mistakenly equate the act of prayer with an act of will. Instead of recognizing the contrast between the two, the key is to avoid exerting unnecessary effort, and by doing so you will naturally adopt the correct mindset. Being creative is not something you can force, but rather a quality that comes from being open and receptive, understanding and embracing the outcome, such as a prayer being answered paves the way for it to come true. Immerse yourself in the state of the answered prayer until it completely occupies your mind and pushes out all other thoughts. We should focus on nurturing the imagination and improving our ability to concentrate rather than solely on developing our willpower. Prayer is effective when it promotes harmony and resolution. Prayer is incredibly straightforward. Its biggest adversary is exertion. True power is revealed when it embraces the utmost tenderness. Heaven's riches cannot be obtained through forceful determination, but instead it graciously presents itself as a gift in the moments when we are fully surrendered to God. Traveling along the path of least resistance encompasses both spiritual and physical forces. We should proceed with the belief that we already have what we want, as everything we want is already within us. It's just waiting to be claimed. Claiming is an essential step in achieving our desire. Prayers are answered when we embrace the feeling of our wish coming true and hold on to that belief. The term importunity refers to a behavior characterized by shameless impudence. We need to keep trying until we can fully envision ourselves in the desired outcome. Success is achieved through perseverance. The soul, when it envisions itself in action, assumes the consequences of that action. It is always free from the result. Without getting caught up in the ACT, imagine yourself already being what you want to be, and you will see the impact of that action. Avoid imagining what you desire to experience in reality, and you will find freedom from the outcome. If you pray with belief, you will receive what you ask for. One should continue their efforts until they are able to connect with their friend on a deeper level of awareness. One should continue until the desired feeling becomes as real as the senses can perceive. Prayer can be likened to a guided waking dream. In order to pray effectively, we need to focus our attention on perceiving the world as it would appear if our prayer was answered. Directing one's focus requires no particular skill, but it does require the ability to manage one's imagination. We need to expand our perception and take note of how our connection to the world has evolved. It's important to have faith in our observations. The new world is meant to be experienced through our senses, to be felt and explored. To effectively observe it is important to be fully conscious of it, but simply by listening and looking with focused attention we can tap into our inner world and experience voices and scenes that are not normally accessible to us. When we focus on the state we want, the outer world starts to change and transform its disharmony into harmony. Just like music, life can be embraced as a surrender rather than a constant struggle. The powers we invoke are the ones that answer our prayers, not the ones we exert. The soul remains blind as long as our eyes only perceive the external world, for it is the world we create in our imagination that truly moves us. We need to fully embrace the experience of embodying the noble qualities we aspire to. If anything is withheld, the prayer becomes ineffective. Our pursuit of lofty ambitions is often hindered by our desire to own them. We are encouraged to act as if we are already the person we aspire to be if we approach this task with minimal effort, envisioning the same outcome as if we had actually achieved our goal. We will discover that we truly possess it. Our attitude holds the power to heal. We simply need to adjust our attitude towards it. Embrace a virtue if you don't possess it, and imagine the fulfillment of your desires. Please pray for my soul. Prayer has the power to accomplish more than we can imagine in this world. Lesson for meditation: focused attention. A lot of individuals often express their difficulty with meditation. It's almost like suggesting that they can't play the piano after just one try. Like any art or expression, meditation requires consistent practice to achieve optimal result. If we make it a daily habit and approach it with enthusiasm, we can master it like an art form. Many people who struggle with meditation tend to neglect making it a daily practice. Instead, they only turn to it when faced with a pressing issue and attempt to focus their attention on achieving a desired state through sheer willpower. Meditation can be described as harnessing the power of imagination and maintaining focused attention. Just focus on a specific idea until it completely occupies your mind and pushes away all other thoughts. Attention is a powerful tool that demonstrates the strength within. We need to focus on the idea we want to bring to life and avoid any distractions. Understanding this is the key to successful action. Keep your focus on the idea you want to achieve. Repeat this process until your attention becomes completely fixed on the presented idea. The concept should capture and captivate one's attention. So to speak, every meditation eventually leads to the realization that the thinker is simply a product of their own thought. The attention of an undisciplined individual is guided by their vision rather than being in control of it. It is emphasized through pressing rather than being highlighted. As important, silence is the ultimate form of praise in both meditation and adoration. Let's maintain our quiet sanctuaries where the timeless perspectives are safeguarded every day, every week, every year, in moments when no distractions or other intentions were allowed to interfere. I dedicated myself to mastering my attention and imagination. I looked for ways to better protect the inner lights that shone and dimmed within me. I wanted to be able to summon them whenever I wanted and have complete control over what I saw. I would make a conscious effort to stay fully focused on the tasks at hand, ensuring that my concentration remains strong and unwavering throughout the day. This is a practice, a preparation for more profound journeys of the spirit. It requires effort and dedication. Working in the fields as a plowman is much simpler to start any magical operation. It's important to have a focused imagination and attention on the idea you want to bring to life. If he continues his practice consistently over time, eventually through meditation he develops a strong inner power. He will embark on a path that is accessible to all, yet only a few choose to explore. It's a journey that starts with uncertainty and darkness, but eventually becomes illuminated by an inner light. No special gifts or genius required. Understanding how to exercise our birthright as children of God. Let us embrace the challenge of shaping our own future. Once again, I want to emphasize the significance of truly transforming ourselves to shape our future. It's not about making minor changes that will quickly lead us back to our old, dissatisfied selves. When you meditate, let others perceive you as they would if this new version of yourself were already a reality. Others often see you as the perfect example of the inspiration you provide. So when you meditate and think about others, imagine that they see you just as they would if your perception of yourself was a tangible reality. In meditation, you can envision yourself embodying the better version of yourself that you aspire to become. When you believe that you are Already what you desire to be, your desire is fulfilled in all longing to become that is eliminated additionally. This serves as a great way to assess whether or not you have truly achieved personal transformation. It's not possible to keep wanting something that has already been achieved. Instead, you feel grateful for a present you've received. Realizing your desire is not a complex task, but rather an acknowledgement of something you already have. Assume the feeling of being what you desire to be. Lesson 5: Law of Assumption. The way you perceive something is influenced more by the assumptions you make rather than the actual content of what you see. The world you perceive as real is actually just a construct. Many individuals trust in the existence of the external world due to their lack of ability to concentrate and channel their abilities to delve beneath its surface. Interestingly, understanding this perspective of the senses is not a complex task. Removing the veil of the senses doesn't require much effort at all. As we shift our attention away from the objective world, it simply disappears. All we need to do is focus on the desired state and visualize it in our mind. However, in order to make it a tangible reality, we must give it our full attention until it feels real and vivid in our senses. When we focus our attention and truly believe in our desires, they can manifest as tangible realities in our lives. Every individual must discover the most suitable methods to effectively manage their focus and direct it towards their desired state. I personally find that the most ideal state for me is a meditative one. It's a relaxed state similar to sleep, but I'm still fully aware and able to focus my imagination on a specific thought. When you're in a state similar to sleep, it can be challenging to control your attention. However, focusing your gaze on an object can be very beneficial. Take a closer look at objects like walls, carpets, or anything with depth rather than just their surface. Optimize it to minimize reflection. Picture yourself immersed in this profound experience where your senses are captivated by the sights and sounds that align with your desires. Your focus becomes fully absorbed in this imagined state. After your meditation, when you come out of your focus state, you feel a sense of coming back from a faraway place. The world that was hidden from you now comes back into your awareness, reminding you that you were mistaken and thinking that what you were focusing on was real. However, if you stay committed to your vision, this persistent mindset will bring your visions to life and turn them into tangible realities in your world. Identify your highest ideal and focus your attention on it until you become one with it. Imagine yourself fully embodying it in your world and feel the corresponding emotions. This assumption, even if it may contradict your current perceptions, will eventually become a real reality in your world. You can easily determine if you have achieved the desired state of consciousness by simply visualizing the people you know. It's fascinating how our internal thoughts can reveal more about ourselves than our external conversation. If you continue to communicate with others in the same way you always have, it means you haven't really changed. Your perception of yourself changing how you see yourself will naturally lead to a different way of relating to the world. Understanding and experiencing are inseparable. The conceiver and his conception are inseparable. Thus, what you perceive as your identity is never truly distant or even close, as closeness suggests division. Anything is possible for those who have faith. Belief is what gives substance to our hopes and provides evidence for things that are yet unseen. If you believe in your own greatness, you will perceive others in relation to your elevated perspective. Every wise individual desires the well-being of others. If you're looking to benefit someone else, you'll need to approach it with a thoughtful mindset. When meditating, it's important to envision others as already possessing the greatness you wish for them. Regarding yourself, it seems that Your longing for another person is quite strong. The path to achieving your desires becomes clearer when you can vividly imagine the experiences you would have if those desires were already fulfilled. This helps you transcend your current circumstances and brings you closer to realizing your aspirations. Through my experience, I have discovered an effective method to accomplish my own goals and help others achieve theirs. Nevertheless, I must admit that I haven't fully mastered the control of my attention despite my own failure. I can, however, echo the words of an ancient teacher who said, I focus on one thing, leaving the past behind and striving towards what lies ahead. I am determined to reach my goal. The truth is something that becomes clearer over time. Anyone who genuinely seeks truth has nothing to fear, as every new revelation uncovers a greater truth that was previously concealed. The genuine seeker of truth is not someone who is self-satisfied, judgmental, or arrogant. We often fail to see the truth when we perceive things at face value only. Images that portray an idealized version truly capture the essence of reality. Understanding the greatness of others is often hindered by our own limited perspective. The truth that lies within us is guided by the power of imaginative love. With this profound understanding, we are no longer capable of harboring ill intentions towards our fellow human being. We will envision the finest qualities of our neighbor. Love is where imagination is born. Love is what keeps it alive. As long as imagination remains vibrant, its visions reflect the essence of truth. It reflects the essence of whatever it sees. However, if imagination refuses to acknowledge the very force that created it, then the most dreadful kind of horror will ensue. Instead of portraying the truth, imagination will instead focus on fear and create distorted and terrifying visions. It will transform from a source of boundless creativity to a force of relentless destruction. When a person's perspective on life is truly imaginative, they experience a merging of man and God in a creative unity. Keep in mind that love is constantly generating and influencing in all areas, from the highest to the lowest. All thoughts, words, and actions are driven by either love or its opposite, fear. Even if it's just a desire for something not very noble, our mental machinery is driven by love and fear. Understanding the concept of thoughts turning into things is straight forward. I propose embracing a lofty ideal to transform our existence into a state of awareness. This can be achieved by cultivating the imagination to recognize that our true environment is one of boundless love. The concept of God is rooted in the idea of love. Love is always unwavering, infinite, creative. Spirit is love, the urge that caused infinite, unconditioned consciousness to condition itself into millions of sensitive forms is love. The truth is our secret inward reality, the cause, the meaning, the relationship of our lives to all things. Let the truth carry us heavenwards, expanding our conceptions, increasing our understanding until we know the truth and are made free. Lesson 6. Feeling the wish fulfilled. Understanding the power of prayer lies in our ability to truly connect with the desired outcome. By immersing ourselves in the feeling of already having our prayers answered, we can confidently live and take action based on that belief. Following Him, as the Bible suggests, is a process of discovering and developing the hidden capacities of the soul. Nothing is more important than how we feel. It is the essential ingredient for any creation to take place. Feeling is an inherent part of all forms of creative imagination. Various emotional states can impact the creative imagination. The feeling of being after Him lacks any sense of finality. This is an acquisition that grows as receptivity increases, and it is an ongoing process with no end in sight. An idea that is merely an idea yields no results and has No impact. It only takes effect when it is felt, when it is accompanied by a strong emotional response. There is a certain mood within our soul that once discovered brings us wealth, health, and happiness. Human beings possess an inherent creative desire. Creating brings him immense joy and fulfillment. Men may not have a complete understanding of their own emotions, which can lead to uncertainty in the results of their prayer. In Proverbs, it is mentioned that a joyful heart has a positive effect on our well-being, while a discouraged spirit can have a detrimental impact on our overall health. The King's lamp is filled with the burning passion of orchestral hearts. A new song is sung to the Lord by the Spirit. True prayer brings joy to the heart. The righteous are filled with happiness more than others, so we should pay close attention to our emotions and how we respond to the events of the day. We should be extra careful with our emotions when we pray, as prayer is a powerful form of creation. Understanding the concept of dignity means recognizing the profound significance of life and aligning oneself with its rhythm. If we simply focused on imagining and embracing the beauty around us, the world's transformation would be achieved effortlessly. A number of stories in the Bible focus on the strength of imagination and emotions. The yearning for truth is expressed as feeling after him. Restoring the Eden from which experience has driven us requires only imagination and feeling. Our perception of the beyond is shaped by our feelings and imagination. They start where knowledge ends. Every noble emotion in humans provides an opportunity for them to connect with the spiritual realm. We should evaluate individuals based on the grandeur of their imaginations and emotions rather than the size of their cities. Let's direct our thoughts towards heaven and let our imagine soar with the angels. Our imagination is what truly drives us, not the external world. We find ourselves in the unexplored continents, and mankind's future adventure lie within the realm of imagination. All sincere seekers of God have experienced this awareness of incompleteness. In their pursuit, they come to understand that their understanding of the infinite has continuously grown and broadened. Through their experiences, the individuals who strive to comprehend the significance of the experience and connect it with our existing knowledge are known as philosophical mystics. On the other hand, those who aim to cultivate this ability within themselves and enhance the experience are referred to as practical or experimental mystics. Many have attempted to accomplish both, with some even being considered the greatest. Religion originates from personal experiences. Religion is shaped by how individuals choose to spend their time alone, as solitude often leads to personal introspection. Love is the guiding force for those who truly discover themselves. His eyes are too pure to witness wrongdoing. The level at which we can assist others is directly linked to our level of self-control and self-assistance. When a person triumphs over their own self, it becomes evident that they have also conquered their enemy, as history will reveal. Understanding the power of a calm and peaceful demeanor, humanity will eventually realize that it is through this gentle approach that we can truly influence and guide others. The true power reveals itself to those who approach with kindness. Let's make sure we pay close attention to our moods and attitudes, as they have a significant impact. Human progress is driven by the power of imagination and emotion. Through envisioning an ideal in our minds, we can immerse ourselves in this image until we fully embody it, assimilating its qualities into our essence. Through the power of imagination and emotion, an individual can influence countless others, acting and speaking through multiple voices. Open yourself up to new experiences. Embrace your creativity and don't be afraid to be in touch with your emotions. One can enhance their perception of another person's well-being by becoming more attuned to. Take a cue from my friend and develop a deeper connection with the health, wealth, and happiness you aspire to. Concepts are only considered valuable if they origin from a divine source and are manifested in tangible form. Focus on the outcomes or achievements as the ultimate measure of genuine creativity when embarking on a new path. It's important to start by focusing on our own personal growth and renewal. Merely forming organizations, political bodies, religious bodies, and social bodies, as in social bodies, is insufficient. The issue we observe runs deeper than what we realize. We must undergo a fundamental revolution. Tie-in within ourselves. Our self-perception plays a crucial role in shaping our lives. What we refuse to acknowledge within ourselves will never manifest in our world. This is the way we live our faith, as it starts with personal experience. Just like charity, it begins within our own home. Man's self-perception is crucial in shaping everything. What he refuses to acknowledge about himself will never develop in his world. People are always curious about their surroundings, wondering what should we do. He should be asking himself, who am I, instead of wondering about what will happen. How do I perceive myself to make the world a better place? We need to acknowledge the presence of a better version of ourselves. Man can only perceive what exists within his own consciousness, as our awareness is the only way we experience anything. The perfect man is constantly searching for a new form, but without our contribution as human parents, he cannot be born. We are here to bring about the redemption of nature from the law of cruelty. The primary function of consciousness is to achieve this redemption. If we reject the responsibility and rely on natural law to provide us with undeniable evidence that the world's redemption through imaginative love is impossible, we undermine the meaning of our existence. Due to a lack of belief, we refuse the method, the only method by which this process of redemption must be accomplished. Subjective experience comes more apparent when we are alone. Imagine ourselves as the ideal person we want to see in the world. When we spend time alone, we can imagine what it would be like to achieve our goals. Eventually, this can help us become the person we aspire to be. We are instructed to alter our mindset. However, our thoughts cannot be altered without a shift in our ideas. Our thoughts are a reflection of our ideas, which are deeply connected to who we are as individual. Being is the ultimate goal rather than constant striving. This is basically how we shape our future. We cannot assign an absolute meaning to it now that exists in another place. We only acknowledge the present moment when it coincides with our current location. By immersing ourselves in the present moment, we can effectively shape our future. People who are feeling discouraged can greatly benefit from the uplifting power of profound principles. We need to return to the basics if we want to communicate in a way that will inspire and motivate. Once more, I want to emphasize the importance of starting anew by focusing on our personal growth and transformation. Many people mistakenly believe they are capable of accomplishing anything. Many people believe they can do it. Everyone wants to give it a try, and everyone is asking, what should I do? What should I do? Doing anything seems incredibly challenging. It is necessary to be accepting the fact that we don't do anything on our own can be challenging. Understanding this can be challenging, as the truth often poses a difficulty for people to accept. However, it seems that no one is capable of taking any action. Everything occurs. All that happens to humans, all that is accomplished by them, all that originates from them, all this occurs, and it occurs in the same manner that rain falls due to a shift in temperature in the upper atmosphere. This presents a challenge for everyone. What is the concept we hold of ourselves in the deeper parts of our Soul man's perspective of himself shapes everything. What he refuses to acknowledge as true within himself will never manifest in his world. The adjustment of self-concept is crucial as it involves redefining the relationship between the external and internal aspects of a person. It is always possible to deepen our understanding as everyone has the potential for profound insights. It just requires us to become aware of it. Life requires us to be willing to go through cycles of death and rebirth. It is not intended for us to perish in our physical bodies. We undergo a transformation from our old selves to embrace a new identity, and from there we witness this new identity manifest in our physical being. Lesson 7. You are God in this world. According to God, humans were created in His image. However, it's important to note that mental and spiritual knowledge operate in distinct ways. We can understand something intellectually by observing it, objectively comparing it to other things, analyzing it, defining it, and even describing it. However, to truly understand something on a deeper level, we must experience it ourselves. To gain spiritual understanding, we must embody the essence of what we seek. If we truly want to understand love, it is essential that we experience it firsthand. If we want to understand what God is we need to have a deep understanding. I exist because God created me, not from anything other than Himself. He created me flawlessly. By taking on my form, there was no other possibility for God to create me except by becoming me. God chose to become human in order to intimately understand humanity using the only means available to Him. He possesses complete spiritual knowledge and regards His creation as truly excellent. He created me in His image, and now I have the responsibility to care for the earth, to conquer it, and to rule over it. I am the earth. I am the earth. I am the earth. I need to learn how to plant like He did. By becoming the world, I need to embody the person I aspire to be. In order to achieve my goals, I will break down and label everything I want to express as a man, and then spiritually understand it by embodying it. Just as He became me, I fully embrace and embody it, expressing it through my actions and making it a tangible reality. Nothing in the world that belongs to me can be taken away except when I let go of my attachment to it. In a world filled with beauty, friendship, and comfort, I have the power to hold on to these lovely things as long as I remain connected to the state where they naturally exist. Once we understand it, we can start tending to the earth by clearing our minds of negativity and unpleasant emotions. By focusing on our inner selves, we can bring about positive changes that will be reflected in our outer world. When you embrace something, it becomes a part of you, and naturally it will manifest in your reality as a reflection of your inner state. This allows you to observe how your actions shape your life. Don't hesitate for a moment when you notice weeds instead of flowers. Begin immediately upon observing and proceed to replant the garden. Begin to conquer it. Embrace humility and find strength in it. The humble are those who bravely face challenges without seeking help. He confidently walks fully aware of his capabilities. He knows how to fish. He has the ability to control every bird in the sky and every thought in the mind. He will start to understand these things on a spiritual level. He will understand them in the way that we should understand anything, by embodying it, rather than just having a wealth of knowledge about external things and understanding them only intellectually. I need to develop a spiritual understanding of things, including love through personal experience. I need to understand the spiritual concept of security by becoming aware of my existing state of being secure. I need to understand the concept of health by recognizing that I'm already healthy and maintain this state for the sake of doing what is right, knowing that my actions will have consequences in the future. It's important to prioritize seeking the kingdom of God and his righteousness, as this will lead to everything else falling into place. Remember, the kingdom of God resides within you. You've heard that plenty of times. The Bible repeatedly emphasizes that the kingdom of God and the kingdom of heaven reside within you, not outside of you. They appear to be absent, which is the result of their internal nature. Now strive to find it and prioritize his righteousness. Imagine yourself in the mindset of the person you aspire to become. Maintain that mindset, embrace it as frequently as possible, and observe how that sense of righteousness attracts things that align with its essence. It never attracts anything unfamiliar. If I adopt the mindset of being the person I aspire to be, I won't come across situations that contradict this assumption. My world reflects who I am as a person. If you had remained true to the belief that you are already the person you aspire to be, circumstances would naturally align with your righteousness. Instead of fighting against it, accept it as it is and begin today to embrace this incredible earth, which is a divine creation and a reflection of human consciousness. Let's actively engage with it and make a positive impact. You won't be changing direction from left to right. Instead, you'll stay on the narrow path. You'll leave with the confidence to succeed. All of them will become apparent if you simply take a moment to observe yourself without judgment. Pay attention to who you are and how you react to life in its current state. It's important to understand that the current state of the earth reflects who we are. Instead of condemning it, simply begin to control it. And remember that you have authority over all the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals on the earth. Recognize these as the emotions, wants, and drives within you, and choose to focus on positive and virtuous on. Reflect on them and you will populate your world, because you hold ultimate power within your own awareness. It may seem small, but it's important to remember that you are connected to me and ultimately connected to God. Here's the thing: if you take a moment to reflect on your own reactions today, you might realize that things aren't going so well. But don't worry, there's still hope. You can get rid of all those old ways of thinking and start fresh with a more positive mindset, and it will produce results that align with the efforts you put in. All these interstates are places in this fabulous psychological consciousness. In state is equal to place, and where I stand within myself determines what I see when I look outside the self. So when I look out upon the world, that area of my Father's garment, whether it be torn by reason of the inner place where I stand, or whether it be lovely, I see only the inner arrangement of myself. I am forever surrounding myself with the true image of myself and what I am in consciousness. That only can I see, knowing that. Let me be determined today to seek righteousness or right consciousness, that I may reap in the immediate present all the lovely things that I desire. Having defined it clearly to yourself as a desirable state, the state you would like to externalize, ask yourself this very simple question: what would the feeling be like were it true if I already embodied that noble state? In response to your question will come a feeling. Assume that feeling it has reality outside of the present moment. Its being is in complete independence of present objective fact. It has real structure. It has reality in the deep of it. It came in response to your call when you said, what would the feeling be like were it true? And you named what you were thinking of. If it was security, if it was health, if it was any state, that fish came from the deep. It's located, and you took the eye and placed it in that feeling. You are actually standing upon it, though it is invisible. Now remain on. Thank you for taking me on this journey with you. This is Dark Psychology World Channel. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and share.